we start our journey into the dark world of scams and scamsters. And our first guide will be David Ellerington, and he will be chatting to Wendy. David is a trading standards officer with Newcastle City Council. And more besides?
A bit of everything at the moment, yes, that's me.
Okay. So.
Okay. Well, welcome to the studio, David. I believe you're Newcastle City's Trading Standards Manager, that's right?
Yes, yeah. I am, Wendy, yeah.
And chair of the regional NETSA, the North East Trading Standards Association.
There is a regional group and I chair it, yes,
yeah.
Thank you.
So we are very, very pleased that you've come along today, because the man with the finger on the pulse.
I hope so, Wendy, yeah.
Now, we think of scamming as quite a, computer and telephone-based, fairly new activity. But is that right? Do you have a history of scamming?
I think that there's always been scams. If you've got money or you've got property, somebody's there wanting to take that off you. So scams are there. They tend to be a bit more invasive now, a bit more wide scope in terms of computer fraud and other things, but they've always been there.
Okay. So, yeah, you've mentioned it's more intense maybe now with the computer and telephone. What are the recent developments you have noticed?
The recent developments, obviously the internet's there and emails and stuff coming through that people are prepared to target you and obviously get hold of email addresses, and they will have a go at scamming you or also just using the phone. A lot of things where it's called phishing, which is with a P, where it looks like a false account on the internet. You think it's from HMRC or another government organisation, and they're asking for bank details or money to go off, and that becomes more invasive. They've got a lot cleverer, and obviously you don't know where these people live, where they actually reside. It could be anywhere in the world. They may want to use something like a money transfer or ask you to send money through. So they're quite clever and quite resourceful in how they take their approaches to take money off you.
Yeah. Well, you've mentioned, people from abroad, right, coming and doing it. Now, I've heard of what they call bank room scams or something, where people want to sell you shares. Is that?
There's a lot of interest and a lot of targeting on pensions as well. It tends to be investment scams and pension scams. People have disposable income, and those people want to target that and take you off the. So the offer is, say it's a wine club or something, invest in this, take that over, a piece of land somewhere in Kent or in another part of the country, and people invest in that, and they find that that piece of land is worthless, or indeed where it actually exists.
Okay. So do scams come in waves? Is there a popular scam that is around at any one time?
I think if organisations like the police and ourselves stop these scams, a new scam may develop and come along. At the moment, the one scam that's causing lots of problems is the courier scam. So you get an uninvited call from somebody late at night. Can you just come and an officer will call on your doorstep and take money off you or gift vouchers, and that's quite nasty, and people have been scammed around that, certainly in the local area. So we need to address those fairly quickly. So that's a new type of scam, a new type of way of developing and taking money off you as the individual.
Okay, so can we just be a bit clear about what this courier scam involves? Somebody would phone you late at night.
You get a phone call from somebody and saying that your bank account's been breached or there's some security protocol. You need to give the police officer call on your door, so-called police officer, money or credit tokens to pay for this, and the courier arrives at your doorstep and you never see that person again. So you've given them money or cash, you've withdrawn in good faith, and they take it away, and that is just pure robbery. And the police will deal with that, and obviously people do get locked up for that quite successfully lately.
What kind of money are we talking about that they would ask?
Well, either cash or they'll ask for vouchers. Can you go and buy some vouchers, a gift voucher or something like that? And then they'll come and collect them from you, not showing A4 ID. Obviously police officers will show ID. These gentlemen will just arrive on the doorstep and take them away from you on the doorstep, and that's it basically. It's a courier fraud.
Yeah.
Which is quite nasty.
We're talking about hundreds of pounds?
We're talking thousands of pounds.
Thousands of
pounds? Yes, people have lost 20, 30,000 for these sort of scams. So they will go to the bank, withdraw the cash, and then go through. Other ones can be £200, £300, but there have been ones where reported through up to £50,000.
Gosh. I'm just thinking, gosh, I haven't come across that one before,
It's
but it's, you know, I sign up to the telephone preference service, so
Yes.
I'm expecting that I won't get any phone calls that are not expected, if you like, or selling me or marketing things. Is that something, am I protected?
We obviously recommend telephone preference service, also recommend a mail preference service as well, if you can sign up to those. They are useful, but not perfect in terms of, the only organisations that signed up the Direct Marketing Association are members of the telephone preference service, so you will still get calls through the door. If those calls still happening, it might be a case of having a word with your subscriber, the telephone, to try and stop those, and the numbers get recognised. You can get systems online, which obviously bring the telephone numbers up, but obviously there's a cost to those. Basically they can be quite useful as well, so you actually recognise the number that's phoning, and if you don't recognise that number, you just don't pick the call up.
I'm getting one, harassment I think of it is telephone calls, and I'm getting like 2 or 3 a day, which is saying that my internet service is
Yes.
going to go down,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And to press a button or whatever. Yeah.
That-
What would happen if I did press that button?
And that's a scam, and they will then log onto your systems, so I would not recommend that at all. That's the Microsoft scam, and you'll have somebody on the call centre asking questions and putting through. I wouldn't recommend that. It's sort of any response to that, be it bank details or whatever else, just don't do it. Just keep it well away from. If it's an uninvited call from a bank or whatever else, just don't entertain it, and just resist the temptation to press any buttons or give any information away.
I've actually noticed, I started keeping a note of all the different phone numbers, and it's a different phone number every time, slightly different. So if I block one, I still get another.
It's always the danger that the so-called suckers lists around, which I don't like the term, where people trade these numbers between themselves, and that's quite nasty as well.
Okay, right, yeah. Well, we'll come back to some more scams that are going
Okay.
around, but we've come to that point where I'm going to ask, what piece of music would you like us to play?
It's a piece by Whitney Houston, I think I've asked for, so that'll be very useful, thank you.
I Will Always Love You?
I will always love you.
Okay, thank you. Well, that, of course, was Whitney Houston, the choice of my guest, David Ellerington, and we're talking about scams. Now, one of the current scams, which is quite ubiquitous, is the Metro Bank scam. Well, what's all that? What's happening there?
Again, it's just a different type of scam using a name or a bank, an insurance or whatever else it might be. Quite invidious, but again online, and it's sort of something which you've got to be wary about, that banks normally don't phone you up and sort of have conversations with you. You need to have, if you've any doubt, call in the local branch and have that conversation. Just be very careful about those sort of things.
I understand that one of these scams is, say, call back. They ask you to call back, don't they?
Yes.
But that's a bit. You shouldn't do that.
I'd be very, very wary about that sort of activity. If it's come out the blue, it's not something you're expecting, not something you've asked for, you haven't had a letter about it, just be very cautious about that sort of call, because obviously there is some way that you log onto your systems and cause you a real problem at the end of the day. So just be cautious, just be that extra bit cautious.
Yeah. And we were talking while Whitney was singing about the Airbnb scam.
Yes.
Can you explain a bit about that?
There's quite obviously property's quite important at the moment, and people go on holiday. There are different methods of Airbnb, and people, and the gentleman I think understand he wanted a holiday in Austria. I booked the holiday up basically, and when he went out there, it was a fake account, and there was no premise or no property for him to rent for himself and the family. He paid, unfortunately, by money transfer, which wasn't a good idea. If he paid by credit card, he still would have had a joint liability with the credit card company. So it's just be cautious that you see something out there. Have that discussion with somebody that you obviously want that holiday, but do the extra checks, do the references, make sure there's any recommendations out there, because it's a lot of money you're spending on that sort of activity.
Okay, so a lot of what we're talking about is telephone and computer based, right? Is internet banking safe?
As far as It can be. Those banks and building societies obviously have security protocols in place. They obviously will deal with that very carefully. I would speak for myself, I won't internet bank, but that's my own personal choice. It's probably an age thing for me rather than anything else, but I'm quite cautious in that way. So I prefer to know where my money's in the account, but again, that's something that you need to probably discuss with the banks. But the banks will reassure you that they have all the security protocols in place.
What about social media, like Facebook?
Again, I'm not a social media fan.
Yeah.
I can see the problems. I can see the advantages of social media in keeping contact with friends and family, especially abroad. But I'm not a fan, I must admit. I don't like giving those sort of personal details away. And I think even photographs can show you where you go and that sort of activity. So I'm a bit cautious about social media, I must admit.
But not all scams are internet or telephone based, are they? What else should our listeners be wary of?
We have real issues with doorstep crime at the moment, where people will come and knock on the door. The so-called fish sellers cause a particular problem, where someone will announce the fact, would you like to buy some fish? And you come along and sort of pay £600 or £700 for a fish you don't want. There are real hygiene issues with the fish concerned. It's probably an unrefrigerated van. And one lady down south, understand that she bought so much fish, she had to buy a new freezer just to accommodate it. So it was a double whammy for her, unfortunately. And things like tarmac sellers, that suddenly you'll get a guy knocking on your door, would you like an extra bit of tarmac? Just been down the road, just done a job, got a spare bit of tarmac. Would you like your driveway done? It's sort of aspects to it, and then you're inviting people into your home who may be there for distraction, burglary, other offences. So it does cause a problem. Another one which we've got is a mattress scam, that you buy a new mattress supposedly from somebody on the door. When you get it, it's been wrapped in plastic. You open it up, and it's been recycled from the tip. So you're buying a mattress which is obviously quite soiled and quite nasty, and you bring that into your home as a new mattress. So it's something which has arrived on your doorstep, and it's those high pressure tactics which we're trying to stop and stamp out.
So basically what you're saying is, anyone knocks on your door, be very wary.
I think if it's uninvited, yes, and that's why we go around and try and introduce calling zones, so the stickers are there and people can say no to people just calling on the doorstep. And a lot of people are genuine and genuine salesmen and tradesmen, but unfortunately there's quite a few out there who are not, and they are there to take money off you and cause you problems.
I'm in a no-call zone, and I do appreciate the sticker because I can point to it.
Yes.
But that doesn't stop me feeling sorry sometimes for so-called ex-offenders who are coming to sell me dusters or other things that I really don't want. Yes.
I think people are aware of the activities of those guys, and I personally feel sorry for them as well at times. But they don't need to be there, and they shouldn't be calling on your doorstep. So I just politely tell them to go away.
Thank you, but no thank you.
No thank you.
Now this is, our programme is quite timely because I believe the City Council, Trading Standards, are having a special initiative. Can you tell us what that is?
It's a national initiative which has been run with the Citizens Advice Bureau and my professional body, and it's a scams awareness campaign, and that's from the 10th to the 23rd of June. So we'll be doing lots of work around raising awareness. We're going to be with the Newcastle Citizens Advice Bureau down in the Granger Market event space on Tuesday from about 10 o'clock in the morning. So encourage any listeners who would like to come along and have a conversation with us, please do.
Well, I think that's a great place to end it, and it's been very illuminating, you coming, and I just think we just have to be aware and not be afraid to say no thank you.
No, and that's probably the message, just be careful. But thanks for the invite.
Thank you.